7:31 and fresh out of bed, so forgive the bedhead. I should call this, like I've said in the past, Bedhead Talks with Kate. But I have been on Facebook for a while and I'm getting questions, and I think the biggest question, there are two, but the biggest question is, where am I with God right now? Because how can I be coming out of the closet as a lesbian when, and still be a Christian at the same time? So first of all, let me just say that my relationship with your idea of God is not going to be something that I have. So I will explain where I am, because I believe that everyone has an idea of who God is, and it can be different, varying between individuals, even in the same church. So years and years ago, when I gave my life to the idea of God, that there's this God up here who is going to throw me into a pit of hell if I don't confess my sins, because I was born a sinner, and then convert to Him, and then publicly profess that Jesus Christ was Lord. I did that when I was 12. I also went through confirmation. I also did everything imaginable to be saved from this fiery pit of hell. And then at the age of 14, I went to a Christian camp where I then was filled with the Holy Spirit to the point where I gave up my all. And then I got into a church where I was taught to surrender everything to Jesus, to the point where I actually gave up everything that made me happy. I stopped performing in the arts, unless it was in the church doing mime or something cheesy, because there was no auditions, there was no standard. Anyone and everyone could participate. And everything had to bring people to Jesus. In fact, all of our mimes were like to Carmen songs, and and the Holy Spirit has to come in and save everyone at the end of each skit. That was the kind of drama I got to do. I no longer could be in musicals because there were smokers and drinkers and gay people there and heathens. I had to surrender that. So that's one area of my life that I sort of I'm like, oh, I would sit on my sofa and just cry when I'd watch a musical, going, God, why is it in me? Why is it in me to perform? Why is it in me? And for years and years and years, even to this day, I wonder, why am I a performer? Why is that in me? Honestly, guys, I want to sing my heart out. I want to dance. I want to not, I just want to perform for you. And that's just who I am, which is, I guess, one of the outlets I have is through my YouTube videos. But I am an actor. In my core, there's something in me that is an actor, and that is something I definitely want to do and pursue somehow. And I don't know how. Because I've been a mom for so long, and a Christian in the sense of self-sacrificing, martyrdom, self-deprivation type Christian, pushing down those secular desires. So that's something I let go of. I also began to, I had read this book called This Discipleship Now, I think it was, and it just asked a list of questions. Have you given, your relationships to Jesus? Have you given your homework to Jesus? And I thought, oh my God, I hadn't thought of that. So then I started writing, ask my friend Linda Cobb, maybe. Well, she might not have been a part of that yet. She was my high school teacher, history teacher. But I would write about Jesus probably more in 10th grade on. With that said, as this happened, when I was about 16 years old, I was performing on a stage at my local church, and all of a sudden, for the first time in my life after being married to Jesus, I had this thought just hit my brain. What if everything I am doing is just my imagination? Like, what if everything I'm feeling, the angels, the demons, the whole thing, what if it's just my brain creating these feelings? Like there's a demon in the corner, the Holy Spirit is moving, the power of the mind. And it freaked me out. I was only 16, and by that point I had already established myself as this amazing Christian woman, or young teenager. I was a Jesus freak, and I was almost, I would say I was respected as this, and I had this identity. And And I'd already given my life to Christ in a way where, I sacrificed myself. I even burned all of my trophies, not trophies, my ribbons and anything that I had was awarded pre-Jesus. So at this point, all of a sudden, there's this empty void where God was, because I couldn't touch that part of my brain that could possibly be my imagination. So I was like, whoa. And I went into this spiral, which I did not even realize was a depression, but I basically had post traumatic stress from that moment, thinking God allowed Satan to attack me while I was performing as a demon on stage, and questioning all of a sudden, what if I am nothing but just, electricity and flesh. So then I just kept going through the motions and tried to be this dynamic Christian, which I still was. But no one knew the depression that I had. No one knew that I was spinning in circles, my brain just fighting itself, trying to figure out what was real, begging God to show himself to me, to prove himself to me. And so then it was not long after that where I thought I heard God tell me that I was to marry Johnny. And it was like, I argued because I was like, no, I can't do that. We're not really, yeah, that's a whole different rabbit trail on this particular video, because you're asking where I am with God. So I'm just giving you the journey. Then I went to Russia. And while I was in Russia, I was still really, really low, and but had amazing experiences in Russia, and but no one knew that I was questioning everything, because I couldn't. That was like, if faith is what got you to heaven, then doubt is what put you in hell. And I was doubting. So I just couldn't, and I couldn't choose not to doubt. It just hit me. It wasn't my choice. It just happened. But I felt such shame and guilt for questioning everything I believed in. So when I went to Bible college, I slept a lot. I was grieved because I was in, and I don't mind, my friend can know this. I was in love with someone there. And so leaving her and leaving Russia was like a huge death to my soul. I was upset with myself for loving her more than loving God and loving Johnny. So I had to, I just would like, so I basically started shutting down all feelings for this person, because I knew it wasn't right in God's eyes, if you will, or at least the idea of God. And so then I went to Bible college and just struggled, but no one knew, because I was called Kate, the woman of faith. I, like I said, I'm good. I'm good at making sure the show goes on. That's one of my gifts, is to make sure that no matter what's going on inside me, it doesn't affect you, because it's not your business. And yet now I'm making it your business, because I guess I'm tired of being not really me. And so here you go, I'm laying it all out there. So during Bible college, I decided in my head that even if God didn't prove himself to me, I was going to believe anyway. I was going to just keep believing. And so I did. And over time, I just convinced myself to just keep going on. Well, it wasn't until Johnny started deconstructing his faith and saying, Kate, I don't know why we do ABCD. And this is after we moved back to the United States. By the way, we got married, moved to Kenya, then moved back to the United States, had Andrew. So while we're back in the United States, I had McKenna, and after McKenna, I had I had, what is it, postpartum, I guess, psychosis. I mean, that's a bit extreme, but it really was. I had stopped eating meat. I was eating only raw fruits and veggies and trying to drop as much weight as I could. I definitely struggle with eating stuff. We won't go there right now. But the point is, had no B vitamins in my brain at all, and I was definitely out of whack when I had her. So she was born at home, and after taking her to her checkup at 3 weeks, they said that she had a birthmark that went into her brain, followed a nerve pattern, and it just freaked me out. And that's a long story. And I had some people, a friend of mine, Annette Meyer, helped me a lot through that. But my point is, through that process, I just went through this whole thing again where I was like, oh my God, I could not figure out I just sort of went through this deconstruction in my brain, but I went through it fast, where I just like didn't feel special anymore, or and I felt like I basically let go of everything that was good, and all my feelings just kind of just disappeared, and I became numb. So but Johnny was also going through a deconstruction of his faith, questioning why we do ABCD, and ultimately we moved to Kenya. And actually ended up having butterfly. We got a house, started helping some homeless people, and felt like there was a little bit flack from the church who was saying we were enabling people, but we felt like Christianity for us was no longer just going to church, but it was about aiding people, helping people, homeless people, hungry people, widows, orphans. So we then, this is getting long. So then we decided to move to Kenya. And I can remember Johnny asking me, is this God's perfect will? And I can remember saying, how can doing good and helping the orphan not be God's will? I got to a point where I was no longer looking for that perfect plan, but just decided we needed to just take a step and do. And so we moved to Kenya, and over the years of seeing people dying and crying out to God while their babies have malaria and they're passing away or whatever, just my idea of God has changed a lot. And I had my prayer changed from why can't I? No, my prayer changed from God, please forgive me for doubting you, to um, I'm okay with my own doubt. And now I don't even know what I believe, and it's okay with me. So I've had to deconstruct and just be okay with not having all the answers, because for me, it was too much mind fighting, and just had to go, it's okay. I just love people. I cannot figure it all out. I don't have all the answers. I do know that I love people, and I love all people, and I have a big heart, and I just want to help people. And so just I feel like we as humans have to we try to like put all these boundaries, and we think we're protecting ourselves because we don't want to be like that person or that person, and we believe this and we believe that and we don't believe this. I don't know. I'm at a place where it's okay to not know exactly what I believe, but I'm getting there to where I'm establishing these layers of, okay, I believe that we're connected. I believe that we should love one another, and I believe that I don't know and I don't have the answers. And so, but by doing that, I'm also acknowledging who I am inside and saying, it's okay. It's okay, Kate. You don't have to self-sacrifice and starve yourself. I wouldn't eat because I was afraid I'd eat too much because it's your donations, or I would, I'm very, very picky about how much money I spend. I just have this sort of martyrdom mentality that was put on me, or that I've chosen because I had a great childhood. And I felt like my childhood was so great that I should now self-sacrifice for the world to make it a better place. And I still have that in me. I still believe I can do a lot to make the world a better place. I just, I'm learning that it's okay to enjoy a few, I don't know. I still have a hard time enjoying things. I'm going to enjoy this cup of coffee, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I hope that answers some of your questions. And if you have questions, I will try to answer them the best I can.